Hey guys, and welcome back. My name is Aaron Bailey, aka Iris Illusion 2020, coming at you with another live stream makeup tutorial. Now, unlike the last tutorial I hosted, that one was more of a subtle look. This time, I'm going to show you guys how to achieve my full-on, half-ass glam drag look, Instagram ready. So before we begin, I would love to make a shout out saying that between my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube accounts, I have reached 1,255 followers. That is a milestone I never thought I would make, being the kind of person I am. I'm not a big makeup influencer name. I'm not some infamous drag queen that's out there showing all my stuff. I'm just some simple guy who loves makeup artistry and feminine illusions, and I cannot thank you guys enough for it. So with that being said, we're going to get started with turning this into my fun nude style with a hint of mint canvas. So to begin, I'm going in with my primers. I'm going to be using a bit of my Revolution Color Stay Power Grip Primer in matte, so that way we can have a flat surface to go off of, and a little bit of the Sheer Envy Matte Serum Primer from Hard Candy Cosmetics. And then just to give a little bit of grip, it's the She Glam Good Grip Hydrating Power Primer. So with this, I'm only going to go on the outer perimeters of the face, because we're going to use a stick primer, blurring primer on my nose, since it has like the most oil issues. Using the stick primer will help clean the makeup onto the nose better. Oh, where to begin? Because I also want this to both be educational and fun at the same time. And I want to make sure that I'm hitting all the points compared to last time where I was just a little boring. So for foundation today, I'm going in with my usual concoction as well as a few classics that I kind of steered away from, which would be the Hard Candy Glamouflage Full Coverage Foundations in the shades Linen and Ivory. These I loved using as a part of my base. No, it's just a simple tank top, tie-dye for that matter. So using linen, we're going to do this on mainly the outer perimeters of the face as just a way to kind of lay a base down for the foundations. And what I love about these foundations is they have their own applicators. Yeah, not even close. I could give a shit less about that kind of situation. And now for my typical foundation combination, it's going to be the Ellen Tracy Liquid Full Coverage Foundation in full coverage in light to medium, the She Glam Lasting Pro Foundation, and we're just going to be mixing these in my little cushion foundation that I got from Amazon for about $8. And then the Profusion Feels Good Skin in a little dark. And then another Ellen Tracy Full Coverage Concealer that will help to keep things kind of mattified. And then taking just a little beauty sponge. And we are going in with the foundation. And I always start my foundation in the upper half first, so that way when I do my shadow, nothing kind of sits underneath here. And then just taking an AOA brush to blend everything out. And you always want to use little circular motions so that way you're not streaking the foundation across and leaving the marks behind. Patting or little circular motions would be the best bet to go with. And now moving on to contour. Now compared to last time where I did a more subtle version of my contour, oh, the brush is a AOA Studio High Definition brush. These are from a store at the mall called Miss A, which is almost like a mall version of Five Below. Surprisingly, for $5, not bad. Now on to the contouring. Using a H&M Perfecting brush, we're going to use that to buff out the temples and the sides here. With contouring, I tend to go a little extreme, but not too much in a sense. I use 3 different shades here. My lightest shade would be the Revolution Super Concealer in C12.5, which is like a warm brown coverage. The Revolution Eye Bright Concealer in Chestnut, Warm Chestnut, which is like a deep brown. And then the Hard Candy Face Off Bronzer in Chocolate Dip, which are my 2 darkest shades. This will help to... Which foundation is for the 5 o'clock shadow? Surprisingly, since my shadow doesn't really peek through as much, I still love using anything full coverage like the Maybelline Superstay foundation, but I'm just sticking with my normal routine. However, I do believe I'm going to start going back to my original foundation colors just to get a better coverage. But if you're trying to cover up, say, your 5 o'clock shadow or your under eyes, which have a tendency to be a little more blue, you can use like an orange to peach colored color corrector or even a lipstick if necessary, depending on how much coverage you're requiring, or depending on how deep your skin tone is, you would even go as far as to using a red, which would help cover up that undertone and keep it from showing through the foundation. You just want to be sure to use a light dusting powder of your setting powder just to make sure that it doesn't mix into the foundation and cause like an orange to red mixing issue. And then using the H&M brush, we're just going to stamp this contour and lightly blend it in. And it also creates this line right here, which we will use as a stencil for where we want our shadow to pull up towards. And as you can see, even with those deep colors, it helps to create that contouring look to where it kind of slims down the sides just a bit. Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to get back into creating more of these live streams. But last week, unfortunately, I had a hell of a migraine from either a work stress migraine to where I couldn't move without feeling like I was going to possibly throw up at every movement that I made. So unfortunately, I had to cancel that out, but I'm glad to kind of be back. But I'm just doing the same as before and stamping out that side. More than what you do. You don't even know the first basis when it comes to cosmetics, I mean. Now moving on to highlight. Using a Real Techniques 200 brush, we are going to highlight the center of our forehead using another super concealer in the shade C2. And then taking a little bit of the ivory from the Glamouflage foundations, just to give a little extra coverage. And this just helps to create the base because I also use both creams, liquids, and powders to create my sculpted face. Just that way everything is reinforced, blended out, and gives that airbrushed look. Just patting it in, patting it around. So there's the first half. Whether if you make fun of me or not, by the end of the day, I'm the one getting your attention. So you're coming on to my live streams, which means you're just giving me more of the views. So whether if it's good or bad, all publicity is good publicity one way or another. So thank you. So now moving on to the brows, which, like I said before in my last stream, brows are sisters, never twins. Whether if they look even or not, just try to get them to look relatable. So taking my deep rich concealer, this is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Face in Mocha, and then just using a slanted edge brush, we are going to pull up and out. Get a little more on there. By the end of the day, the comments are going to show up on the live stream, so what difference does it make? And then taking that brush, we're going to buff out. My signature brow, I always love it to be an ombre brow where it's feathered in the front and then sharp in the back. I identify as a cisgender male. I mean, I'm born as a guy, stay as a guy. As far as with the makeup, it's just not only to show off my articulate creativity, but I also embrace my feministic side. So he, they, them, basically. But I mean, if I get called a she wearing it, I'm doing something interesting, but by the end of the day, I mean, I'm a guy. I'm not gonna sit there and try to be picky with the pronouns as long as it's nothing derogative or stupid. But I'm not someone who's just gonna flip out if someone wants to call me. Yeah, so with brows, it's kind of next to the liner being the open heart surgery with makeup. This is just creating a base for it, so that way once I powder everything down, I'm going to go back and reinforce it. So that's the first half of the makeup, which is the upper half. Now I'm going to be setting it with my concoction of Coty Airspun powders in Extra Coverage Translucent and a little bit of Honey Beige just to give a little bit of a pink undertone since we're about to hit the cooler seasons. And then taking a big old powder puff, we're just going to stamp this all on. Now, probably someone who doesn't do as much makeup as I do, you could use a brush too, but when you stamp it on and press it in there, this will help actually keep things set more to whereas with a brush, you're just dusting it on there. So with this will help press and make sure to lock everything in. But when you're just dusting it with a brush, you're only getting the surface level instead of pressing it in together. Taking a big old dusting brush and then a little bit of my Simply Bella foundation powder. I do full on glam. I don't do drag just because I don't have the time or the money to afford all the accoutrements and stuff like that, or even the space for a wardrobe, to be honest. Taking that brush, we're going to dust off the sides here to give a little color, and then just in circular motions, we're blending that powder off and out. But I applaud anyone who does drag for a living to where, oh God, imagine trying to be in a club, especially during the times where they have no air conditioners. I would not imagine. Now moving on to the brows, which is going to be the fun part of reinforcing and cleaning them up. Now, this is a little unorthodox for me, but I use a Hard Candy Instant Summer Bronzer for my brows in the shade Cocoa, which is this deep brown. And then a like flat edge shadow brush like so. And we're just going to draw on And the reason why I use this bronzer is because it blends out nicely, so that way I can get that feathered front end without it looking too much. And then once I use my highlight powder in the center, this would... I wish. I'm actually a very recluse person. I don't really go out socializing as much. I'm just an introvert. But when I put on the makeup, it kind of brings out a side of me that I love, which is more not so reserved, but would be more outspoken and being a little bit more lively compared to my guy side. I guess because moving around so much, I never really learned how to be as socializing, like with other kids or with other people. So just that's kind of a life lesson that haven't been around with as much. Yeah, too bad my sister wasn't born until I was 13. So you want to try again? You see, the funny thing is you people want to throw out these accusations thinking that you know me. You don't know the first thing about me. And no, this isn't the result of a fatherless figure. My dad's been with me all my life. He's been very supportive of what I've done. So I'll tuck that little notion right out of your little handbag. Where did she go? The one thing about having too much stuff here. Nope. Okay. Oh, thank you. Taking my Superstay Full Coverage Foundation Powder from Maybelline in the shade... Oh, which one was this? 112 Naturally Ivory. And then taking this dense packing brush, we're going to clean up the center here. And as you can see with this brush, how it's feathering out the front ends here. That's the effect we want, where the front ends are feathered out, but then the structure stays in the back. And then after we add our liners and the deeper colors, it'll help kind of straighten this out. For the liners, I'm going to be using this Essence Lash Princess liner in the shade brown, and we're going to draw on the hairs as well as structuring these brows out just a little more. Little flicks at a time, and bringing it down to the tail. And we're also going to set this with a deeper brown, just to ombre the colors. It's one side, and the other. Just like so. And then we're going to take a Wet n Wild brow liner, or just a brown eyeliner pen. And then taking that same shadow brush, which I just threw out, and then taking a darker brown. No, I'm good. My religion is just fine the way it is. I follow my own path and march to my own drums, whether if you like it or not. We're going to reinforce that brown as well as ombreing the color. Side 1. Side 2. And just like so. Yes, mental health is real. I suffer from anxiety and depression because of growing up with a bit of a rough issues. Does that sound better to you? So for today, I'm actually going to try experimenting with both a skin-toned concealer and then a white concealer underneath these brows. I want to give this a bit of a drag / Instagram ready look, so we're going to use the white first to carve out the underside of these brows. And then taking the skin toned one, and then taking this fluff brush, going to blend out this with patting and circular motions. Just like so. And taking a dense brush and then a bit of a highlighting powder. This is the Physicians Formula Bitter Butter Powder. So far I'm good today. I'm enjoying my day off of work. Just wanted to sit down, have fun with some makeup. And we're going to set these brows. And this will help give the brow a bit of a shimmer to add into that brow highlight. Oh, I appreciate it. I am taken, just a heads up. I've been married, and today is my 14th year anniversary with my husband. And then on to side number 2. Side 1. And side number 2. What's funny is you want to say that I need Jesus, but in God's eyes, we're all created the way in his image, so I have to change myself to appease him. Isn't that a bit of a controversial issue? You know, if we're all created in God's image the way we are, then why do I need to change myself if this is who I am? I want to stick that. Patty pat pat pat, patty pat pat, patty pat pat pat. You can say that all you want, but by the end of the day, I've already found my own path and I'm walking on it just fine. Okay, the brows are browing, and then we're just going to add a little highlight. Well, thank you. And then taking this fan brush with this Profusion Chrome Style. Do what? Adding makeup? Ooh, such an issue. You're acting like I'm sitting here trying to add a tattoo or something. The way I was before was boring. The way I am now is better. Feather out that front. So now that the brows are on as best as we can, we are going to move on to the eyes. So we're going to start off by putting down a primer. Now you can either use a primer or even just a simple concealer if you choose. I love using the Profusion Base Pigment Primer in the neutral tone. Oh, I tried dressing in heels for Halloween one time as a mermaid for work. Never again. I love how someone says I don't do makeup good, yet they clearly don't know how the process works. Just using a brush to pat out this primer. Now my tip and trick for doing my shadow and liner, for only $2, a bit of Scotch tape. And we're going to use this to create a bit of a stencil for where our shadow is going to go, right about here. Boom, instant facelift. No, they can sit there and be nice all they want, or be that way all they want. By the end of the day, I'm the one that's getting the attention, and no, I use the men's restroom even in a full face of makeup. Thank you very much. I mean, by the end of the day, I'm the one that's getting the comments and the looks and the likes, and also Normally that kind of stems out of jealousy that this bitch knows how to put it on when they probably can't. So we're going to start off with a bit of a neutral color as part of... But then it sounds like you probably need to teach your grandchildren to be a little more open-minded, unlike you. You see, I'm not this. I'm out there. And especially if you want to sit there and try to be rude about it, just go somewhere else. So starting off, we're going to take a fluffier dense brush with a bit of a light color from this House Laboratories Glam Room 1. We're going to start off by creating the shape of our crease, pulling it out and then pulling it up, and just sketching out that line. Blending it up and out as much as well. Pass. I don't do alcohol. I've been plenty years sober and I don't care to. And then taking a denser brush, we're going to take a darker brown, which is this soaring color from the Free Spirit palette from Profusion. And we're going to deepen the crease a little bit. Oh, you know, I haven't even got my music going. I'm an idiot. I wonder why I'm so deadpan quiet right now. Too loud. There we go. You know, people can be mean out of jealousy out of the fact that this bitch knows how to apply the makeup when more than likely what's left of their lifetime, they don't know how. And now moving on, we're going to cut the crease by using another full coverage Glamouflage foundation. Oops. This is in the shade Vanilla, and we're just going to pat that down. Voila. And then taking a brush like so, we're going to take a white, which is this Fit Me pressed foundation in translucent. I'm going to set this and then going back in with that first brush with that lighter brown, we're going to feather out that front end, that back end here. And then just to add a pop of color on here, I'm going to take a bit, where'd that brush disappear to? We're going to take a little bit of this minty green called Hope. On this flat angle brush. And it's a light mint, which is great because we want the focus to be more neutral up here. That's when you contact your local doctor. And add a little glitz and glam. I'm taking this Eye Def liquid eyeshadow from Hard Candy in Deep Ocean. Ah, God, this is just the best one ever. I'm upset that they discontinued it, so I'm riding this one out until it's dead. Ah, and there we go. They can talk and talk all they want. Like I said, by the end of the day, they're coming on to my stream, giving me the views and the likes. Whether if it's good or bad, ooh, words are hard. Good or bad, publicity is publicity. And voila. So there's the first eye. Now we're going to move on to the secondary eye. Too bad I don't have my third eye. I guess one of the things I would talk about that I'm going to try doing is my next series of makeup looks. The next set of looks I really want to have fun doing, because it's been about 3 years, is, thank you so much, is actually recreating my 7 Deadly Sins look. 3 years ago, I did an attempt on the 7 Deadly Sins, doing conceptual makeup stylized after them. And looking back, whew, some of them were a little questionable. And then angle up and out. Gotta be wary of how you place it, because God forbid you hit the wrong spot. Taking the same light brown shade and brush, just gonna pull out and then pull up and over. Yeah, I can be. And that's what makes me unique. And that's what makes me me. I'm not the same as everyone else. Don't care to, don't want to, because everyone living and looking the same is boring in my eyes. We are all created differently and all created to have some fun. All right, you have a good day, sweetheart. I'm taking a dark breath. And then up and over. And then going back over with the other brush just to blend everything out. Now going back to cut the crease. 1, 2, and 3. And then once also we get to the liner portion, I'm going to show you my trick on getting liner done for those of us that have a hooded lid. You know, I keep saying I was supposed to try to make this a little more educational, and here I am being deadpan again. Yeah, a little higher than normal, but it is what it is. Nope, not that. And then taking the press powder again, just gonna set down this foundation. And then taking that teal from before. And then the eye depth shadow. God, I love the shadow. Hard Candy, if you're watching this, bring back these shadows again and more colors. These are fantastic to use. I mean, kudos to them for bringing out the matte shades, but these metallic ones are just chef's kiss when it comes to the makeup, honestly. All right. So that takes care of eye number 2. Now we're going to go in and do the under eye highlight as well as the nose contour, which is always the fun part. So taking ivory from before, we're going to use this as a base for cleaning up these under eyes. Oh, actually, before I do, I forgot. We're going to take this Revolution Pro blurring stick, and we're going to use this around the nose and under eyes to help give the foundation something to hold on to. For me, my nose, especially on the right side here, has a problem holding on to foundation throughout the day, and eventually it looks like it's kind of starting to peel. So I found out that using a blurring stick primer on your nose will help give the makeup something tacky to hold on to throughout the day. Just blending it out first, and then we're going to start applying the ivory. So we're just going to pull this up and out. And then we're going to use that the C1 of the Super Concealer on the inner corner here. This not only helps give the eye a little bit more of the shape, but this will help kind of give a bit of a lift here. And then taking that Real Techniques brush, we're just going to buff this color out. All right, and that's one side done. And yes, even though my highlight is pretty bright, I like the contrast of having a lighter highlight and then a good contour, just so it shows the curves and the carves of my face when I have the definition. I love to hyper feminize my face more to show off the work. Back with that. Now, fun little story. Back when I first started, I would do my contour way too freaking dark, especially on my nose. I looked like I was practically brown nosing up to my bosses half the time. Until I found somebody who does it worse when they were a corporal kiss ass, but story for another time. All right. Now moving on to the nose contour, which is always fun. I'm going to be taking a flat edge angle brush. You know, it could go either way, honestly, but that's not something I'm going to discuss. So taking this flat brush, we're just going to add a little bit of that chocolate dip product. Well, you know what they say, I love a good suspension story. one side, pull up. All right, and then taking a fluffier brush, we're just going to blend the sides down. Bottom, second side. All right. Well, basically that's the nose contour, and now we're going to move on to the bottom half and the other part of the contouring. So we're going to take that linen shade and work at the base here. Leg's falling asleep. I'm just going to carve this out near the beard area the most. And then taking our other combination from earlier, using the 3 foundations, or at least 4 in this case. Well, then maybe you should go hide under the covers, little boy. And then taking the sponge, just going to and normally, like I said before, you don't want to drag this foundation, but in this case around the neck. And then taking my AOA brush, we're just going to blend and pull this down. The number one mistake with most people when they do foundation is they stop it right here at the jawline. You're going to look like that you're going to be wearing a mask. You want to make sure that it's blended down along your neckline to make it more seamless. Now moving on to the contour. So the same 3 steps as we did up here, we're going to take the 3 colors to contour and chisel out the bottom part of the face, or the jaw or cheekbones. So taking the worn chestnut, we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want to be sure you're doing it more at a straight angle rather than a curve, because then it's going to add more weight, honestly. And then 1, 2, and 3. And just like so, in comparison, now side number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just And now on to my favorite portion when it comes to makeup, liquid blush. Now these I swear by a milestone. The Profusion blush hours are some of the best liquid blushes I've ever used in my entire makeup career. Oh, before I forget, do the jawline a little with what's left on the brush. So I'm going to be using the shades Mai Tai and Strawberry Daiquiri, which is a bit of an orange to very hot pink tone. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just using a fluffy brush as such, we're just going to swirl and buff these colors in. Oh, these are just immaculate when it comes to makeup. Even the ones from She Glam that are roughly in the same stylized as these work just as amazing. All right, now it's time to start setting the under part of the face. Actually, before I do, we're going to add a little bit of a liquid highlight to really give the cheeks something to go on to. I'm going to be using this Profusion Cosmetics liquid highlighter, which is like this beautiful iridescent diamond color. Oop. There we go. A little on the hand. It's there, but once we add the regular highlight and such to it, it'll make it even better. This just basically adds like a base for when we put down our powder highlighter. And then just set in the face like before with the Airspun concoction. Oh, don't worry. That will always be included as the lipstick, because the way I do my lips is pretty signature, at least for my looks. Even though plenty of a drag queen that's been on Drag Race has done the same style. But and you see, at least the good thing with the powder, it helps to soften up the contour a little bit so it's not as harsh, which is why we go back and use powders to reinforce everything. And taking my Simply Bella, we're just going to lightly dust off . All right, now we're going to reinforce the nose contour and then start reconstructing the face again. So using a flat edge Eco Tools brush, sponge, we are going to take that bitter butter powder from from Physicians Formula as part of our nose highlight, and then plus it's got a bit of a white, so it's great to help pull that down. Just gonna go just like that. And then taking this $6 LA Girls contouring palette, we're going to take the lightest shade to contour the nose. And just using this e.l.f. Blending Perfectors brush, take that light contour and just hit the bottom, pull up the sides to chisel this. And then what I've been doing recently is just taking that same color and bridging it on the top here to create a bit of a shadow. Just so that way it kind of cuts the nose a little bit and blends it better. And then after dusting it off, we're going to take the lighter skin tone colors, which is like this bright beige and pink, to kind of slim down the nose a little and blend in that eye, or the top. And now we're going to achieve a slimmer nose by taking, oh, where'd it go? No. There you are. We're going to take this Super Matte Powder Foundation from Revolution and Translucent with another powder puff, a smaller version. And then to add just a little color, I'm going to take this CoverGirl pressed powder in the shade Ivory, this clean pressed powder. Just like so. Wanting to slim down this nose contour to where it looks like we cannot breathe out of it, which is what I love the most. Pulling it down upper lid here, or upper lip. And now moving on to another favorite of mine. Give me about 2 seconds. No. We're going to be taking this. God, I'm just trying to find a brush in this place. Nope, that's not it. It's too powdered. There we go. So from the same brand AOA at as far as city, I'm not going to really say. I will say the state-wise it's Oklahoma, but I'm not going to go further than that. Sorry. But from AOA, it's a Soft Touch Blurring Powder Foundation in Translucent Pink. And then taking a tapered powder brush, we are going to just taper out this powder. Now, normally translucent powders are just pure white. This one has a pink undertone, which kind of gives, at least for my skin type, a more natural-esque highlight without it being so white and vibrant. And with the blurring effect, this really helps to kind of keep my under eyes looking so creasy throughout the day, since I do have bags forming. Hey, for 31, I'm doing pretty good. And there we are. And now moving on to reinforcing the contours on the cheeks, I'm going to be taking 4 different contouring powders. 2 dark ones, which is the Creme Shop California Dreamin' powder, and the CoverGirl CoverGirl Smoothers powder, which is in Translucent Tawny. The good thing about this powder with CoverGirl is that they're very sheer, so you can't really go overboard with it, but it does make a great blender. So just taking a tapered brush and dipping into both powders, and then just in circular motions. And just like that, we start off with our darker contour. And then moving on to the middle tone. This bronzer I swear by, along with their blushes. These NYX Buttermelt bronzers and blushes are some of the best ones to use because you don't have to use so much of it. It's a very lightweight, very full coverage, but very lightly used one. So just taking a little. You see the difference of how much nicer that looks? The blushes, I think, are just as amazing. I love using the hot pink one for certain looks like I did for my Chapel Roan makeup again. And then just to add a little light dusting, I'm going to take this Physicians Formula matte bronzer with a bit of a denser brush. There is nothing better than when I chisel out my face like this. And then taking what's left on the products to do the jawline so it's not too harsh. And then taking adjusting it. Uh-oh. Sorry, it's about to try to cancel out. There we go. All right, and now moving on to blush, which is always the fun part. I'm going to take a little bit of this LA Colors Ombre blush, which is called Sunset Chic, with a Wet n Wild brush. Roll it together. You know, for a cheap product for only like $2, this works incredible. This is why I love calling myself the drugstore queen, because I don't use a lot of high-end products unless it's a very rare occasion. Like even this essentially ageless peach blush, I got it at Dollar Tree. I'm pretty sure it's a knockoff version of L'Oreal in some form or fashion, but like that color payoff is just amazing. And now to do the underside of my cheeks here, I'm going to be taking this L'Oreal True Match powder in C5 and another taper brush. We're going to carve out the underside here, just dusting it on. Yep, there goes another one. And now moving on to highlighter. Actually, before I do, I need to kind of dust and blend everything together. Taking the sheer tint finishing powder from e.l.f. in the shade Light, and then another dusting brush, we are going to blend all this together. And that's where it kind of gives off the more airbrushed look, is by using like a dusting powder to kind of tie everything in together. Especially if it's a sheer tint powder, which is great. So now moving on to highlight. For today, I'm going to be using this Supermoon highlighter. I actually don't know what brand it is. I got it from like Ross for like $5, $3. And then taking a dense fan brush. Screw what people say about highlighters being too much. I want to look like a damn disco ball on my cheeks, bitch. I want it to be impactful and just glam. All right. And now we're going to be moving on to the bottom half of the eyes. Starting off, I'm going to be taking a whiteout liner from Hard Candy. It's literally just called whiteout. And we're going to do the waterline. So when it comes to doing your waterline, if you use black, you're going to close it off. You can use white and it opens it up even more. I always prefer white just because it kind of gives more of a doll-like appearance, and that's kind of like my aesthetic, is having these like big kind of open eyes, but then I also put a lot of lashes on, which just kind of counteracts it, so I'm very contradictive with that stuff. Oh, and to take just a little more shimmer, I'm going to take this Profusion metallicized highlighter palette, and we're going to take this kind of pinky toned one. It's like liquid, it's like dusting chrome on. Well, thank you. So from the Free Spirit and Perfect Petal palettes, we're going to take some teals, some mint colors, and we're going to do that on the lower eye. I'm going to try out this technique of priming my lower lids. So I'm going to be using this NYX Ultimate Shadow and Liner Primer in light. We're just going to... And normally trying to put, excuse me, a cream or liquid on top of powder can be a little difficult. But we'll see. So we're going to take this like domed dense brush and the shade Splendid. Oh, it kind of destroyed it. We're just going to oh, okay. It came out actually better than I thought. And then from the Perfect Petal palette, we're going to take Freshly Cut, which is this beautiful mint tone green. And we're just going to see, that's the thing with some of these mint colors. They don't show up as good as I had hoped, but by the end of the day, you can't just say because one color didn't work that the whole palette is shit. It'll work somewhere down the line. Ah, there we go. Awesome. Thank you very much. And now going on to the other eye, taking that same primer. Now again, I do apologize for being kind of silent most of the time. Once I start kind of getting into the makeup, I start losing track of what I'm doing. But I guess having a bit of ADHD to follow up with that doesn't exactly help it. My leg's starting to go numb here. All right. Now moving on to liner. So this is going to be my tip and trick for those who have like a hooded lid like I do here. So what you're going to do is, this is just an LA Colors cheap liquid liner. It's like $2 from Walmart. What you're going to do is take it, slather it on. Where it transfers is how far up the line you're going to pull this liner up. Up and out, and then pull back in. And just like that, just kind of helps to encompass the fact that our lids are hooded, and it gives off the illusionary effect of having a sleek line. Yep. And you see how it kind of helps to really feminize that eye a little bit more too. Same on this side. Okay. And then we're just going to do a little bit underneath. Yep. Not this one, but brush, where'd you go? There we go. And then we're just going to coat the lids or the lashes with a little mascara before we move on to the lips. Oh, and this is just the Essence Lash Princess Mascara in False Lash Effect. I love using this as a base for the lash, for the mascara first before we put on the lashes, and then we'll use a different mascara to blend them together. For lips today, since we did a more glamorous eye, which now that I'm looking at, I'm going to try something here real quick. I'm going to take that same Splendid shade, and we're just going to kind of oh, there we go. It kind of traces out that lid a little bit better, so that way there's some color. Oh, there we go. So for the lips today, we're going to do a more neutral set. So using this CoverGirl Ultimate Liquid Lipstick in Picasso Pop. This is probably one of my favorite neutrals, thanks to Trixie Mattel when she did a full face of CoverGirl. What's good about this one, it's a neutral tone, but it's neutral with like a grayish tone to where it's not too pink, it's not too brown, it's just like that perfect nude. And the way I do my lips, I don't do the whole Cupid's bow like I used to. It's all basically an oval, or half circle, if you will. So in the center, just go over it, pull up and down. Just like so. pull up and down, pull up and down. And then so it's a good base tone for it. And then taking this Stay Satin Liquid Foundation lipstick from Rimmel in the shade Psych. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if you can find these very much anymore, since Rimmel, I think, has taken themselves off the shelf in most of the stores. But between these and the Stay Mattes, these have a good applicator to drawing on lips. Because I hate using lip liners. Just like so. Oh. And then what we're going to do is take a little bit of white. This is the Wet n Wild Care Color Corrector in white. This is used as both a brightening well, I appreciate that, but I am a male. Not a transgender in any shape or form. I am a cisgendered male, born male, staying male. Just the way I love to express my articulate creativity. And that lightens up the center a little bit. And then taking this baby gloss from Revolution in the shade, what was it? Sugar. And there was that. And now we're just going to be moving on to lashes, and we will practically be done with today's fun little minty green look. Actually, let me check some. Alright, and for lashes today, I'm going to be doing these Lunar Magic Love More lashes. And there you are. Taking some of these lash glues that I love using. The first one being this Iori lash glue, which is a liner and lash glue in one. And then this new one that I got from the same customers who gave me the House Laboratory makeup a while back is this Lash View Lash Adhesive, which looks more like a mascara. But it works really nicely. So we're going to take the right side first, because that's the side I'm more confident in doing. Just gently pulling off the lashes without tearing it like I normally do, like the dumbass that I am. I'm taking a pair of tweezers and holding it. So we're going to take the Lash View first and just brush on the band with the lash. Just a light coating. And while that kind of tacks down a little bit, we're going to take the Ioni lash it creates a bit of a base. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. That's the good thing I love about this Ioni lash glue, is that it creates a good base to set things, so there's no like futzing with it like I normally do. And this Lash View lash glue works really nicely. I mean, it tacks down nicely, it stays on throughout the day pretty damn well, and I work from 6 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, having this stuff on almost at 5 in the morning, and it still stays on. I'm pretty impressed. Almost as good of an equivalent with like maybe Weed Bond, but I wouldn't dare try that yet, if at all for that matter. But believe you me, this is far beyond from perfect. This has been 10 years of a lot of practice since 2014, and some of my earlier picks, oof. Be questioning myself, what the fuck was I thinking back then? And then prop and pop. So normally I don't always wear one stack of lashes. I would usually do maybe about 2 or 3 just to give a fuller effect, but I want the eyes to really show in this look using the stack. And then taking this Essence Another Volume Mascara Just Better. We didn't see that. And this will help push the real and false lashes together without it tugging. And then just to add to my namesake for illusion, I'm going to take my ponytail clip here. Just add. And there we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the end of this tutorial. Oh, someone's trying to be rude. We got an audience restriction. Fun. But, yep, here we are. So we are at the end of this tutorial with this fun, minty color compared to the last time where I did more of a settled look. This is definitely more of my quote-unquote aesthetic. And just like my namesake for being Iris Illusion. But I can't thank you guys enough for sticking around. It's unfortunate we had a bit of a rough beginning with some people wanting to be funny in the comments, but like I said, by the end of the day, I'm the one that's getting the attention. I'm the one that's getting the views and the such. So all publicity is good publicity. But I will see you guys next time, and hopefully we can try keeping this live stream content train rolling. Until then, love you guys.